Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Dur Red. This is their part number 9-inch PI pressure intensifier spring. This is a spring, a shock, what Dur Red calls a pressure intensifier, a lifting mechanism, and this is what you get when you purchase one without any brackets. A single pressure intensifier with no brackets to the lid or to the sidewall itself. Actually, it would be this way, to the sidewall itself. This is the 9-inch size, and that is directly related to the application, the size of the roof hatch it's being used on, how many lifting mechanisms or pressure intensifiers there are. Dur Red will tell you that, why is it called 9-inch? And they'll say, well, because it measures 9-inch. So fair enough, very easy to remember. They actually measure about 9 1/4 the overall height of the two tubes. This is a set of telescoping tubes, and we're going to take them apart and just simply take dimensional properties of the item. Yes, a paper towel. This is full of grease. Okay, so if you're looking at this, if you are looking for a replacement pressure intensifier shock lifting mechanism, you have a Dur Red roof hatch is what you have. You probably have one that's in the smaller range. You might have something 36 by 30, 36 by 30, 36, 36 steel sort of lid. They are sold as individual lifting mechanisms. They are sold as individual pressure intensifiers, I should say, with the brackets. Those brackets mount to the underside of the lid and then to the sidewall. You can buy them in pairs of these, or you can buy them in pairs with the brackets. If you buy it just the way we're looking at it here, you're going to get the upper and lower tubes. You will get the washers, and all the job, you'll get 2 of those washers, and the only role of the washer is to simply give the spring somewhere to seat against. That's just simply how this manufacturer does it. A couple of flat washers is all it is. So let's take some dimensional properties. Let's move from the top down. Overall height of the upper tube, again about 9 1/4. Projection of the bracket looks like it's about 2 5/8. Overall projection to the center of the mounting hole is about 2 1/16 or so, maybe 2 1/8, about 2 inch or so. The outside diameter of the tube itself, and the purpose of these dimensions are to simply help you determine if this is what you need. 1.503. 1.503 outside diameter. Then the lower tube, that overall again about 9 1/4. Its outside dimension 1.384. 1.384. Okay, let's put an outside diameter on the washer itself. 1.255, 1.255 on that fender washer. That's probably might be a 5/16 fender washer, maybe 3/8. That spring. Very common for people to ask us the size of the spring because they very typically will have the spring in their hand and just need a replacement. Overall length of that spring is about 16.5 inch. Okay, overall length. The outside diameter of the spring, .158 on the outside diameter. The diameter of the coil itself, 0.187. So it's 3/16. Okay, that's the size of that spring. And that's everything. So we've taken dimensional properties of everything, and people will ask, what size is it when it's compressed, or what size is it when it's, at a certain degree? We don't know, because the way that we receive them from Dur Red is completely disassembled. Obviously, when you're going to be assembling this, you're going to need to have certainly it's a 2-person operation, in my opinion, because you need to be able to get that lid open, to hold it in a degree of open beyond what a hold open point would be, so that you can get these parts assembled down onto it. So you want to be pretty careful about that. Get everything bolted. This will sit on the sidewall bracket. There's a pin that will fit inside that hole, and that sidewall bracket is welded to the sidewall. You get it bolted to your bracket on the upper lid, and then at that point you'd probably be able to partially compress it and reattach your hold open bracket if it was indeed removed to get the door open far enough. I've seen photographs of that. But that's what this is, a single lifting mechanism comprised of those components. We get this type of call all the time. I need help, I need replacement hardware for my roof hatch, as does the factory. So the way that these phone calls travel in order to assist you to get the material that you need, and be mindful, again, this video is to provide visual and dimensional evidence of what this item is. So people will call and I need a shock, a lifting mechanism, a replacement pressure intensifier for my roof hatch. The first question is, whose roof hatch do you have? You either know or you don't know. And you wouldn't know is because there's no identifying marks on it. That's all there is to it. If you do know, it's because there's a label on it. And if there's a name or a label on it, there may be a serial number, so capture all of that. With a serial number, we can request that the factory pull the bill of materials to tell us what was used when that unit was built, and then we're absolutely sure to get you the right material, because the purpose of the video and then the follow-up call that we get is to eliminate all the guesswork so that you get the proper pressure intensifier. The goal of the factory is, of course, only a safe operating piece of equipment. So when the call comes that you need hardware and you don't know whose brand it is, the factory will generally not participate in any conversation at that point, because they simply don't know what they're working on. We will pick up the baton, we'll take the baton, so to speak, at that point. Send us photographs of everything. Not only photographs of the roof hatch, existing hardware. Tell us the depth, tell us the width of the roof hatch. What's the composition of the roof hatch? Is it made of aluminum or steel? So that we can then work with, hopefully, a manufacturer that we are able to identify by visually reviewing the photographs to get you the proper material. Again, a serial number, if one exists, it usually doesn't exist, but if one exists, that would be the way to really know for sure what it is. So then we work towards finding out who that manufacturer is and determining what hardware you need. Occasionally there are times when people can't provide the information, or they're simply manufacturing their own, or they are literally manufacturing. You'll have a homeowner or someone, a hobbyist, so to speak, will make their own and then look for hardware to equip. Or you'll have people that are going to manufacture roof hatches but don't want to get into manufacturing hardware. We're unable to really give any advice at all because we lack the understanding of what things like what compression rate of spring would be required, the mounting points on the sidewall and the underside of the lid, where all of that needs to be positioned, the overall length of everything. So because safety and a safe operating roof hatch, because understandably when someone is up on a roof hatch, you're probably in a quite elevated position as in relationship to the floor itself. Admittedly, sometimes we get photographs from people that look like some really long homemade ladders with no safety. The hardware to control the roof hatch lid, as best as it's been engineered to control it, is utterly missing. So safety first. The factory's sure going to take a pass on those conversations. You really have to have their material to be able to talk to them about what's safe equipment. So this video is to help determine if this material is appropriate. If it's not an obvious match with what you have, name, serial number, photographs, send all that to our contact information, and we'll work closely with you, because we can visually identify, the material that comes from the 5 or so manufacturers of roof hatch products that we deal with. So I would say that we have seen probably everything that exists, and if we haven't seen it to know who's the manufacturer, we can narrow it down and then contact those manufacturers, and they can usually get us closer to the answer, because the sourcing the proper safe equipment is the bottom line. It's difficult to be able to help people when they're making their own because we don't know where to place the material, the mounting points, how much spring rate you need. Or we've had people who have just ordered material and then called and said, hey, your roof hatch shock doesn't work. Okay, it's a spring, so how does it not work? To come to find out, it's brand A when you've got ultimately brand B, and the material is placed in a position on the lid and the sidewall that aren't compatible, obviously, with what's happening. You might be missing a hold open bracket, so the door goes well past where it's supposed to go and the tubes physically leave each other. So you got to stick just with what you've got there. Finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all the Dur Red products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Any questions on the Dur Red? This is their part number, 9-inch pressure intensifier, sold as each, no brackets, or any other Dur Red product. Please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.